Exactly. We gonna hold that team.
Hey, what's up? This is your boy, Ron the Don.
It's your boy Telly.
It's your man Zay Dubose.
How you doing? It's Dave.
It's your boy ZB. And this is what we like to call Can We Laugh Now? Today we have a special guest and one of my special friends, Miss Wanda Cooper, here today. If you don't know, this is the mother of the late Ahmaud Arbery. His case, his what would you call it? Like, I don't want to say situation has made headlines all over the world, and so we wanted to take out time just to give her own platform and voice to shed light on the situation, also to add a sense of humor to the situation. You know what I'm saying? So we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello.
Is this your first trip to Act?
Telly.
Telly.
Yes. Zay Dubose.
Zay Dubose. Wanda Don.
Dave.
Okay.
CB.
And I gotta give myself a name.
Oh,
All right.
all right.
We do like Coot Dog.
Cool dog.
Yes. Came strong with it.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Is this your first trip to Act?
It is.
How you like the city?
I like it. I'm a Bulldog fan.
Bulldog.
Baby. Oh.
We ain't never gonna have a football season. It's not gonna be the football this year.
If it ain't no football season, I'll burn Athens down. I'm not even.
All Bulldog fans.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're all talking about.
Ronnie,
Just
hold on,
say yes. Just say yes, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna dive right into it. I got a question for you. If this coronavirus wasn't a thing, and you can go any place in the world, like any place, where would you go right now? Why?
I'll probably be like Africa, like Nigeria,
okay.
just to get a taste of, sense of the blackness. And
Okay.
that
Motherland.
I want to go and see, where we originated from.
Okay.
And this is all happening, we chanting this thing, Black Lives Matter. I want to go and see where Black Lives actually originated from.
Okay.
That's
deep.
wrong.
I
That's
think they actually called for us back, like in Ghana or something. Like
Yeah.
they called for us back. It was like, yo, people, we see you having trouble. We're open arms out here, so come and see what it's
When
like.
America's handling, I'll take that off.
So,
Yeah.
would you go like right now in the midst of these heat?
Yo,
Or would
I
you
knew I
wait
was going there.
for the winter? Because when she said Africa, I was like,
Yeah, but I'm hearing it wasn't that, well, like in Nigeria, I got a friend from Nigeria, he says it's not really as hot as it is in the U.S., but I think I would take the chance now.
I feel like the humidity of Georgia makes this like terrible. Like,
Yeah, that would be all we need to prepare.
Especially down
It's
south, like
unmerciful.
towards Savannah and Brunswick, the humidity.
Yeah,
is-
it's hot. Yeah, it's
just feel like
hot.
breath outside.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like what?
like breath.
Yeah. It's that sticky heat.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. You walk outside, you sweating in 5 seconds.
Yes.
I'm like, that's when I have a puddle on my back.
Yeah.
I had a friend call me today.
Say it.
And she asked me to take pictures for her graduation last minute. I was outside all but 5 minutes and was like,
Fuck it.
No.
I think like September is gonna be the hottest month. I think, though. You think?
Oh man,
I will say
it's starting to get cold.
I
I say late
August.
August.
Yeah. it's
August.
hotter. Mhm.
I pray not.
I'm about to have my sister moving to college. I'm just regretting it. I don't want to carry things
She
upstairs.
just wouldn't go.
No.
I actually appreciate the heat because I'm like on this like weight loss thing.
Oh yeah.
So I go at like 2 or 3 o'clock when the sun is at its hottest.
You walk
I get
outside
my
with trash
workout.
bags on your shoulders.
Yeah.
For real.
Why?
I hope.
If you
Wow.
don't do it in the morning, it will not be done.
Yeah.
But see,
I'm
with
good on that.
me sweating so easily, it cuts down on my exercising time. So instead of exercising with 2-3 hours, I can do roughly an hour and still burn what I need to burn for the day.
You're supposed to do a really good intimate workout for 30 minutes a day. I learned that from my queen, Sraven. Hi, baby.
Hi,
See,
Serena.
I cut it much shorter 30 minutes. I do nothing, and I accept where I'm at.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I've learned to love
That's
this.
right. Embrace it.
Facts.
He's belly.
Yeah.
It's love right here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It took you how many years to get there? How do you?
25. It took me 25 years to get right here.
Embrace
That's
it.
right.
Uh-huh.
Embrace
It's
it.
gonna take 25 years to get it off.
That's right.
Exactly.
At the level that I'm doing.
McDonald's on Prince Ave.
It's okay.
It's hard.
Question. So, are you a big Motown fan?
Yeah, I did. I love Michael Jackson.
Gotta go. Gotta go with Michael, man.
Michael.
Told y'all he was the GOAT.
What's your favorite Michael Jackson song?
Probably Billie Jean.
Billie Jean.
I think my favorite.
I
My
was like
favorite
in, I
brother.
was like in the third
I
grade.
see. I gotta go with the girl is mine.
The girl is mine. I do like
Is it the
this
Paul
song.
McCartney thing?
Yeah, it's not the Paul McCartney thing.
So we just can't have nothing tied to that.
I like.
First of all, the song, I love her more.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
like
those
it.
favorites too. We need that right now.
Yeah.
They redid it in the early
We just don't talk about that. We don't
They
talk
had
about that.
Jamie Foxx.
No, we go back. Let's go back to the original.
Let's
We just go back to the original and
I
accept
had
that
no
one as
idea.
it was.
Yeah.
Well, act like that never happened.
What?
He said they remade it. I didn't even
Yeah, they remade We Are the
Yeah.
World
Oh, okay.
Mm.
I didn't
with
know that.
That's
current.
Artists.
I think they should do it like every 10 years.
Yeah.
No,
Everything
no, it's just unnecessary. You know?
I don't want Takashi singing in the next one. Like,
It's like
It depends on the singers.
Yeah.
Because we still got some good singers. Like Jennifer Hudson wasn't on the last
Right.
Fantasia. You know, they
Right.
like a mixture.
Chloe
of,
and
like,
a
Haley.
mixture.
Women and gospel
What's the new
singers.
one?
The newest one I remember, Pink was on there. Jamie Foxx, Mary J. Blige. It was a lot of different. people.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, she was on there.
I'm trying to think of who else famous that was on that one. I mean, they all
The
famous.
We Are the World.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they redid it.
Wow.
You just
Same
see,
sound,
you just hear from that.
different
Wow,
voices.
you don't like that at all.
Well, I just didn't know. I mean, I'm not
It was
against it. I'm
pretty
just saying
good.
there's just no. There's not a lot of knockout singers out here anymore. There's no Marvin Gaye's. There's no Sam Cooks. And people need to give Sam Cooke his due respect. Sam,
Luke
I
James.
do, yeah.
What about Luke James?
Luke James, that's one guy. But Luke James is
I'm saying you said there's no
monster.
knockout singer.
Not many. Not like he used to be. Not to me, anyway.
Sam Cooke.
Yes.
Sam.
Love
Cook,
Sam
Marvin
Yeah, I love
Gaye.
Sam.
You lying.
Yeah.
No, I mean Sam.
What y'all know about this?
Oh man,
I mean, I'm a fan of the
yo.
Four Times.
Hey, look.
And the Temptations.
Hey, what you know
And
about
Tammy
that?
Terrell.
Facts.
I know
Marvin
nothing.
Gaye,
Right
My
now,
mom
everything.
plays
Wonder?
some good music,
Okay,
yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I listen to my mom.
It's nothing like waking up on Sunday
still
and
Al
the
Green.
jams are
I actually
going.
love Al
Is it
Green.
gospel or R&B?
Yeah.
You about to go to church? You about to go to Green, bro. You can't sleep on Al Green.
Or both.
Al Green was good too. He was a
Mhm.
He's still alive.
Is he?
I don't know.
We just gonna say yes.
Yeah, I think he.
I don't want to be inadvertently knocking people off. That's just
Yeah.
that's just not the way to go.
No, I don't think he's here. You just hear boom.
Oh, is he still alive?
I think he is. Well, I haven't heard.
I think he is.
You gotta be kidding.
They would
Yeah.
have made
They
a
will.
media
We
thing.
got the
every
nine.
day.
Still alive.
Every day.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, I'm still a little sad over Aretha. I'm still.
Yeah,
That's unreal to me.
That's kind of how I felt about the new Lion King, man. They had Beyonce on there, like not.
I haven't
like
watched it. I heard
Beyonce,
she had
Yo.
5 lines and people was just like in there.
Beyonce did that thing where Beyonce tries to act and she just does Beyonce.
but- No, I'm just talking about the singing part. It just wasn't her element. Like that music. Just
Oh
isn't
no,
her
no.
element.
Beyonce's element is singing. It's just not.
Okay,
I'm
so
saying
who
is
would you
the-
rather
the-
have
the
done
song.
Beyonce's part? That
Who would I have rather? I
could've went with
They should have
Rihanna.
just left it
Are
alone.
we
Eddie-
talking
Eddie-
about singing or are we talking about acting?
both, because Rihanna did an animated movie and it was pretty good. Home.
Okay,
You
so
remember that?
If
Home.
we're talking about acting, I would have. I'd probably go with Journey Smollett. As a voice of Nala, I think she probably could have did a good job. Singing, they probably could have just got somebody else like they did for Simba in the original.
Yeah.
I didn't like that movie like that.
You like Lion King?
No, it's
The remake or the original?
it wasn't. Yeah, the remake.
Okay.
I was about to say, if you don't like the original,
No, the original.
I was just mad that
The original
they
is
didn't Scar to look like Scar.
Hey, we didn't have to respect.
She didn't look like Scar to me. In the
Yeah,
real
yeah.
live action. I was like,
It's just like the rerun, like it wasn't the same. So like I
raggedy.
wasn't used to seeing it like in that way. It just wasn't the same. Like there's some words that or moments that made you laugh in the first one they didn't even have in there. And it was just like it wasn't like I didn't know what to expect. So I was just like, man, what? Like this is kind of not right.
I
Like,
feel real bad when that Mulan come out.
real bad.
Ain't no Eddie Murphy.
But you have a favorite movie?
but they said the drag one ain't gonna be in there at all.
Not really.
Not a favorite movie.
Probably Poetic Justice. I said that.
Poetic
Okay.
Some classic.
That's a classic.
What about that movie speaks to you?
I don't know. I just like Tupac. Tupac was like one of my biggest fans, and I like Janet Jackson too. And they got together and they made it work. You know,
Yeah.
it's all about
So,
being together
I like
and
the
it work.
chemistry.
Yeah,
They had
I
good
like
chemistry,
it.
but
Yeah.
I have to ask you this because she was like, she's a pop fan. So that means you was a hip hop fan. I gotta know who some of your favorite rappers were. I gotta
I
know.
like Tupac. Tupac was my favorite.
Pop.
Yeah, I like
Tupac make
Do
your
you
head
have
nod.
any current artists that you like?
All this stuff now is not really
It's
music
not
to
the
me.
same.
So
It's a different vibe.
It is
it's
a different vibe.
What was
it's
your-
Little Baby and Baby? I try to get into that. You can't get into that.
Everybody's baby.
Yeah.
Lil Baby, the
Yeah.
baby, Lil Bo
Yeah,
Peep.
you can't get into that.
So like so far, when you think back, what was your favorite era that you lived to see? Because I myself tell people I'm just a part of the wrong generation because I really wish I could have been born like in the 60s and been a teenager in the 70s to be able to enjoy like trailblazing music, trailblazing styles just as it was coming, as well as the 80s. And I kind of feel robbed because everything now is sampled off of the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
There's nothing, it's new stuff, but it's not as innovative
It's not.
and it doesn't represent our culture because it's already been done. And so now it's like you get kudos for looking like the 90s, but what would we look like in 2020?
So you say there's no separation, like
There's
as
no
far as
originality.
quality or
Like
originality?
even in the music, like I have yet to hear a song that gives me what a 90s song still gives me.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like the artists are not the same. They've made their money. They've retired. But it's like you can't really say they passed the torch because ain't nobody in place. Everybody just making music that's
Only
just,
in R&B, because in hip hop there's certainly.
but I'm talking about like classic one-liner raps, like
legendary.
legendary.
There are certainly that in rap.
Give me one.
Because after the 90s, post 90s, Jigga Man, Jay-Z came up. Then we had Kanye. Then now we have Drake.
I like Kendrick Lamar. He speaks.
Yeah.
J. Cole.
Yeah, but they hadn't done enough, man. I love them.
I'm talking about compared to their counterparts.
Compared to
I
the
can
two I just
actually
gave you
listen.
before. Yeah, like nah, like, they haven't done enough. But I
like
their
Ludacris
rappability.
too. If you really listen to Ludacris music,
Yeah.
like, he actually makes sense.
But that's what I'm saying. Only in R&B was there like I think R&B's dead. I genuinely think R&B's dead. Because from a male, I don't feel like none of us are really doing it like that. You got Tank, but it's almost like people would rather go listen to like the latest Tory Lanez song or Bryson Tiller song. And no disrespect to him, but they can't sing.
And
like
also,
Tank.
just on the content of the music now, I can bump to anything, but sometimes you don't want to listen to something so explicit.
It's so crazy.
Back then, it was something
Innuendo.
to actually date, or it was more like, oh, I see you cross the room. I want to, now it's like,
I mean, that was
Straight
explicit
there.
back then, but it was like there was the distinction of it.
Well, I tell
it
you
was
what.
appropriate. You got it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't as
in your face.
in your face now.
Yeah,
Like,
there was innuendo.
I'll tell you what. So after this is over, y'all get with me, and I will curate a playlist for all of y'all.
You gonna make us a mix CD?
No, just saying. I mean, if y'all looking for like music, this is not expensive. That's easy listening. That sounds good. That is beautiful. I can do that because I think where we at today is what the internet did was connect us all, and it gave us a lot of people a platform to get their music out there. And so now, like the popular sound probably isn't the stuff that you want to hear. It's probably it's not
Mainstream.
yeah, it's mainstream. And so what you want to do is, well, what you don't want to do, but what you probably need to do to find what you're looking for is dig through all of that noise to get to the stuff, to get to the good stuff, to get to the quality.
It's like that one song you showed shared me Alone Together.
Mhm.
I don't know what to do with that.
Daily,
Daily,
featuring Marsha and Bruce.
Now that right there kind of like gave me an older vibe. Like it wasn't so.
Daily by Marsha and Rose. They're both from
No, Alone Together. No.
yeah, Daily by Marsha. Sorry, yeah, it's
Yeah,
Alone
he
Together.
featured Marsha,
Daily
but
by
it's his song.
featuring Marsha and Brushes. They're both from the UK.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but it was beautiful. It was like it kind of gave you like that older '90s vibe. It wasn't so explicit.
It made you feel in love.
Right.
Yeah, it made you feel
So
like
it's like a slower beat, or is that?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
slow.
slow.
Oh yeah,
It's really something you listen to
Some soul
probably
tunes.
when you outside, the wind blowing,
Okay.
just something
Some
easy
relaxing
listening.
music.
I'll
Yeah.
play it for you as soon as we're done.
Sitting on a blanket with the gnats in your.
You know what? I don't think that's fair when we talk about explicitness, because the '90s R&B was explicit. The only R&B group majorly that really wasn't. I'm just speaking male, of course. Well, I guess Boys to Men, but H-Town was like pretty straight to the point. Jodeci, by the way, who I think is the greatest R&B group ever.
What's his name? Uncle Luke. Now I get it, but it wasn't the face of music. Now you have Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, and,
Well, that's not R&B.
but
definitely not.
but there even R&B is still, even for instance Trey Songz, his latest music is so explicit that I feel dirty listening.
I mean, even like
You know, it's a bit much.
I get what you're saying. Like, for instance, Janae Aiko has this song called I can't really say. You know, I don't want to be disrespectful.
It's
It's cool.
okay.
But essentially, the Vagina Fairy. You know what I mean? And like that's the title, and that is like the content. Like you can only imagine what the content of the song.
Like, we don't even have to hear the
But
song.
see, this is the thing. It's doing numbers.
Yeah.
It's doing numbers, and I'm like, okay, so but that's out of style for an authentic song
True.
that has a nice vibe. It don't chart at all.
So you don't think there's any art has it? You don't
So
think
you saying what
within
they
our
got
I feel like
there.
it's music out there. Like I highly doubt if Jill Scott was to come out with a song, she'll probably get charted because she's Jill Scott now.
True.
But just based on the music and the content and the lyrics, she wouldn't chart.
No, okay, I would agree with that. But I just want to know, so you don't feel like within our generation we've had any type of authentic songs or authentic artists?
No, I'm not gonna say that because I mean I feel like all music is beautiful because it's just our interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But comparing to the '90s, no, I have yet to find an artist that gives me what the '90s can give me. I mean, even late '90s, like the Boys to Mine, that was clearly arguing over a man, but it wasn't as explicit as City Girls. But you still got the message. You still understood what was going on.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't
anything
seen an artist that does it consecutively, and that charts, and that has exposure.
Well, I think if you're looking for all of those things, you're probably not gonna find them because the people that have the quality that you're looking for probably aren't going to chart the way you would want them.
That's
to
what I'm
chart,
saying. That's the
because
problem.
That's not the popular sound.
But see,
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's
I
driven.
don't know, man. I just don't. I just can't agree with us not having innovative sounds in this generation. Just the music or production, like
I
just
think we've
anything.
taken great advantage of technology
I think so.
I mean,
because
yeah,
I don't
but,
hear
mean,
real singing no more. Like,
No, I'm just saying, but like just sonically, like even like producer. Well, I've already said Kanye. We'll get to him later. Like Kanye, like how many producers are more innovative than Kanye West?
So
Like,
I think
So how you like Kanye? You like Kanye?
I like
the old.
I'm not interested in
Talk about
that.
the soul
Kanye.
Kanye.
We will not do this on this show.
I love Jesus Walk.
Kanye is Kanye. I love him. I love what he does musically. I can't judge his personal life because I don't know him at all. But as a musician, he is a bona fide genius. Like he is. So I'm saying, if you dropped him or compared him to any producer in history, he's either just as good or better, and honestly better.
Well, he created a lane for himself.
But
compare
I'm
him.
saying there are a lot of us that did it. Timberland is probably a better producer. I'm not saying it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you got in the older era,
Dark
you
Child is
had-
right. Jerkins, right?
yeah, you had Norman Whitfield. I hope I said his last name right. He was the producer in the '70s that kind of innovated the Temptation sound after David Ruffin left the group. You had Smokey Robinson. You had Quincy Jones, who I think is the greatest producer of that era.
He still produces.
Quincy Jones was like the man. But I'm saying like but after him, you still had guys like Teddy Riley. You still had guys like we had guys like Timberland. We have guys like Dr. Dre. I'm just saying like there are innovative like people that came after that. You know what I'm saying? Like as good as who's an R&B singer? Like I love Tevin Campbell, right? Like I think Tevin Campbell was one of the most underrated singers ever. But after him came Usher. Like, not to say that Usher is a better singer, because I wouldn't agree with that, but just artists, like, I mean, well, Usher is a knockout singer. I do believe Usher's a knockout singer. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, within our
generation. He saw you coming for his fellow. He came across the table.
He said Usher, I just heard riffs and everything. I'm like, do all of that. He just got range.
As the generations change and things go on and change, people, like, the sound of what captures people's ear is different. And then as people grow older, they're not gonna. It's hard for them to adapt. So they're like, they critique it in a way as if they were, back in their, age and era. When everything evolves and it changes, so like it's kind of almost like, we want to stay current and relevant with topics that we speak. It's kind of like the sound, like, saying you got to stay current and relevant with the sound. So because like you want to sell, like how you were saying, like the people that don't get exposure or not up there like that, is because they're not doing what everybody else doing that captures the people's ear to blow up or get big, and just finding that sound that everybody wants to hear.
And I think to that point, music is often the soundtrack to our lives. So when we talk about the music that takes us back, that brings that nostalgia, that gives us our feelings, we're not just talking about the music. We're talking about where we heard it, what we were doing when we
time and place.
And so when we started to talk about, like, the 90s, like, all of us are 90 babies. You know what I'm saying? Well, aside from you, Miss Cooper.
That baby's in 90s.
That's the difference. We are not the same.
But we like the rest of us are 90s babies. So when we talk about 90s R&B, like we're kind of at that halfway point, because we grew up with the 90s R&B too, but we were on the verge of burgeoning sounds.
Yeah.
So I think I can understand why you might not have an appreciation, as great appreciation for the newer stuff as you would the older stuff. I guess it depends on your life experience and how that resonates with you.
Yeah, the other thing you said that was, I think, just completely out of pocket. There's no way I'm an African American man living in the South in the 70s. Miss me with that. Oh no.
I mean, I'm talking about as far as style, music.
Yeah. Oh no, you're not style? No.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Go look.
I'm good on that.
I'm good on that. Right. You have
80s, 90s. I did not just say 70s. I said 70s and 80s and 90s, just to be able to live through that.
Yeah, I could rock with that. I could live in the 90s.
Because that's when Adidas and the But I got a question for everyone. Like, okay, so like you said, nostalgia and like, we remember what we were doing and stuff like that. Do you feel that the same impact and influence that the 90s has on our lives now, today's music will have in 20 years?
I think
to that
you
generation,
really just say, "Oh yeah, I remember I was listening to Janae, and man,
to those kids, yeah."
Okay, let me ask you this: when we talk about Beyonce, single ladies, when we talk about,
it's like 3 different Beyonces though.
But I'm saying, like, I get what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? You got the Me, Myself, and I, Beyonce. Then you got Sasha Fierce. Then you got
Jigga Man,
whoever this is today.
But I'm saying, we talk about Beyonce single ladies, or Rihanna's what's that? I can remember being at a party in college.
Oh, Drunk in Love.
Listening to that, yeah, like, and just thinking, like, God, someone need to just.
We can't be listening. Oh no, I like it.
I hate this.
Like
that's what everybody.
Beyonce's good.
You like Beyonce?
I do.
You have a favorite song from Beyonce?
I just think Beyonce was overrated because all the guys love Beyonce. So
that brings me to my.
I thought she was.
Overrated.
I thought she was.
She's oversaturated. People just live and she don't do nothing.
But
when I say let me rephrase that. I'm not talking about her performing her music. I'm talking about she don't even do interviews no more. She don't go out in public like that no more. All she do is releases her own footage. So it's like, if it was a thing to be higher than a celebrity, she would be there. But it's like, technically, if you think about what really makes her that.
You want
We
some
did.
people?
We did that.
I love Jay-Z. I think Jay-Z's the GOAT. She's bigger in music than Jay is to hip hop. Like that's saying a lot. Cause he's the GOAT.
She's a great influencer. Like I'm not taking.
I'm just saying like, but oversaturated. I think that might be a stretch. I think people tend to kind of like.
I just feel like her name holds too much weight.
Anytime someone likes
areas.
someone, a lot of people like someone a lot of people are gonna dislike that person. So they do to Drake.
Yeah, Drake's approach that.
Like seriously, like a lot of people love Drake, and because the guy's just too good, a lot of people just don't like him.
Yeah, it's almost like
She was pretty. She had a good body. She can dance. She just had too much for him.
Too much?
Yeah, I think
Too good.
At a point,
But I do
it's
respect
people
her
that are
vocally
entities.
because if you actually study her vocality, is that a word?
No, but we'll let it
What?
slide.
It's a word today. Well, what I meant.
Yes, I
You
know
know
what you meant. I know where you're going.
That's the word.
I know where you're going.
Her vocal ability
Yes.
is off the charts to me because it's like she Beyonce, but she does certain things with her voice that no other average person or average singer can do.
I can't do it. I know that's a fact.
She mimicked a guitar riff with her voice, and I was like,
She can do it.
When she opened up, what's it called? When she was counting down, what was that called?
countdown.
No, or was it?
I don't know.
When she opened, she said "boy," but she ran the whole word.
Have no idea about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know the
We-
song.
They-
I respect her
She
as
said,
an
"Oh,
entertainer, but she
killing me
just
Oh,
softly."
I know that song. I heard
And
the
when she
song.
first comes on, it's a whole run from up the scale, and I'm like,
She can do
who
it.
does that?
I think Beyonce is the second greatest entertainer ever.
Really?
Just entertainer.
Wow.
Entertainer, yeah, I agree.
I think there's only
Beside Michael Jackson.
yeah, like literally like Michael, he made grown men cry.
Pass out.
Like pass out. Like there's
Yeah.
no way. The tickets cost rent money and they passing out. Ain't no way. I'll be
I'll be awake.
Whole show. I'll be home after that.
Prop me up.
Oh my God, you look
But
great.
Beyonce,
No,
like I watched one of her concerts one time, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like I don't think no one in music right now can have a concert like Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like and they just.
What you think
like,
about Homecoming? Her last big thing.
That's cool. That was the one I watched. That's what I'm
really?
saying. I was like, dang, but she's had, according to people who were much more educated on Beyonce than I am, they were like, man, yeah, she's had better concerts than that. And I'm like, golly, like,
Yeah.
Gosh. Wow.
I heard she was a great entertainer. That she really can perform.
I think Chris Brown is about on the same level
no.
as her.
No.
As far as her
He
entertainment,
does
his
give a good
entertainment
show.
value. His entertainment value, like can't there's no other male artist that's big right now that's dancing like Chris Brown.
No, not dancing.
That's dancing,
But
entertaining like that. Who's entertaining like that?
But there's another. But I can give you another artist who we all know can't dance that put on better concerts than he does.
Who's that?
Drake.
I just knew that was coming.
He does. Drake puts on like
But the
Drake.
difference, but
His concert. He's not dancing, but his concerts are better. Go watch them. They're longer, but that's because Chris
Drake
Brown-
get away with that because of how popular and likable his music is. Not saying Chris Brown's music isn't popular,
Yeah, but he doesn't make it.
but they just created their own kind of lane in a way. Like
Chris created his own lane. He did.
yeah,
And then
we
he
can
tried
talk
to be
about
Drake.
versus battles. Okay, I had this discussion yesterday. I would put R. Kelly and Keith Sweat.
She was like,
Now you gotta show me.
Okay.
You talking about Robert?
I'm talking about music only.
Music. I think you
From
should
a
call
musical-
Robert. You should call whatever prison he's
Okay.
in and apologize.
R. Kelly was the GOAT back in the day.
I know, but
Got into the-
but a versus battle, not on vocals, but just
Yeah,
on
just songs.
content on songs.
Songs. You should call whatever prison.
Okay, so who could
R.
battle him?
Who? R. Kelly?
Yeah.
Usher could battle him like songs. I don't know who if he win, but
R.
songs.
Kelly was the. He was
I would put Usher and Chris Brown. Song wise, not talent and dancing, but song wise,
I would
hit for
prefer
hit.
that than a Usher and a R. Kelly.
What's going on, it's your boys, They Do Both, man. We want to give a really big shout out to Pop Socks, man. We don't know what to wear, put on a pair, man. Big shout out to Marquez Williams, man. Keep doing you, bro.
would say shout out because it wasn't that type of tone, but when she brought light to your son's case and what happened to him, and along with others that have suffered from police brutality, just unnecessary death, crisis, everything. Like, how did that feel to see that? Okay, from we had a personal conversation how everything happened, but the world didn't know. So for a while, you did have to kind of force yourself to come to terms with what if my son is another case that doesn't get heard, but then your son happened to be the case outside of George Floyd's case to be heard and recognized, and it really fueled this whole movement because Black Lives Matter came a couple years ago, but now it's really like in full swing. Most people support it more because it's out there now. So how did that feel? And not only Beyonce, also what other celebrities were a shock when they reached out to you? Like, who shocked you the most?
Okay. I was grateful. I was on social media and I saw a tweet that she did, a post that she did. And I was grateful because, like you said earlier, in the beginning, it was like 7 weeks and there was no media. It was just me. And me just making these countless phone calls, these countless emails that wasn't answered. But then to actually get to a point where the world knew. Then I had people like Beyonce and Kanye West, LeBron James. Kanye actually called me. We had a telephone conversation. Wow. And he actually gave me his phone number, his cell number, and told me if I needed anything and just wanted to talk to reach out to him. So that really meant a lot because I wasn't expecting that, I had people like Oprah Winfrey call me that Friday, the day before his birthday. Wow. And she called and I'm just sitting back on my back porch and she said, "Hi, Miss Cooper, this is Oprah." So it made me just feel grateful that people of that status actually care, they have a heart. And just to text Kanye just the other day, his video, his new music video came out, and I texted him just to see would he respond back, and he did. He was like, "I said, I like the video." He texted me back and said thank you, asked me how I was doing. So I mean, God has been good through the whole process. He's given me the support locally. God is good. I'm not just saying with that. God is amazing.
Amen to that. Amen. Yeah. I think one of the beautiful things about people, the things that kind of tether us back to reality. I think everyone lives in a bubble, but when things of this nature happen and they're unfortunate, people forget how human we really are. Like just naturally, and for people like a celebrity, to someone like Oprah Winfrey. Yeah. To call you, despite what people may think of her, like that genuinely shows because she didn't do that for cameras. No, they're not doing that for show. That's genuine. Yeah. And I think, man, that's beautiful, man. Like you said, God is good, man. I think
like Gail King, she reached out more than once. I mean, it's been a ride, but I just thank God that He put the right people in place to help me get through it. Amen. And then just after a walk, she was in a beautiful painting by this guy who drove hours to bring it to me, and that was just the beginning of it. But it showed me
he didn't drive none of it, but
he didn't have the time. Someone else said
he didn't drive, and I slept. Okay.
You put him out there like that?
I got car lips, and so as soon as the car crank up, I'm out.
Sorry to cut you off.
It's the list.
I'm sorry.
You put him just like all the way under the bus, roll 4 feet, backed up.
But touching on that, what you said with humanity, I think a lot of people take for granted that other people and celebrities are actually human.
Yeah,
they have natural emotions, regular emotions, like everybody else does, and I think to be able to see it and hear it from a different light, it brings a different perspective in my mind about how we look at other people. Like I understand, they're human, and I never thought that they're like robots or they're just bigger than life itself. But to hear that they actually can reach out to somebody, they're busy individuals, and so that is kind of amazing to be able to hear. And it's like wow, it's like, but it's just like. It's sad that it had to be something like this for someone to, for people to reach out, because I'm not saying they don't do events in the community, but, it's just, this sometimes doesn't, I wish that this would have been something that made someone want to reach out to someone and be a genuine person. I mean, maybe I'm looking at it.
I mean, sometimes they put them on that level. They get on that level, and then it's hard to come down. I feel like sometimes that you get up there and you're on that pedestal
because it's a new normal for them.
Yeah.
So it's like they have complete control over their whole world. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you might become ignorant because you're not aware because your life is so fast paced, and unless something goes viral, or unless a certain someone brings awareness, you don't know. And that goes for the average person. If you're not in a place to be informed, you're not going to be informed.
Yeah.
So what made you guys come together and do something like this?
This is a story all
This-
about how
Picture Sicily.
Sicily.
1980,
1945. I was actually starting my own production company at the time. Late 2018. We didn't. I hadn't had a name yet.
Okay.
What ended up slowing down the process? Me and my girlfriend, we ended up moving to Rome.
Okay.
So that was away from everybody. So when I came back,
We missed you.
thank you.
Sure.
He and I kind of linked up, decided to call it Truth Entertainment, and we're producing what we are, what the show we have now, Can We Laugh Now, and it's just to give people a platform to kind of like, I feel like everybody's tense. Even when people go do radio interviews, there's all types of things that just go and then don't go. My objective is to create a platform to help others help others.
Okay.
I'm not really for show necessarily. I just want to like help people. My mother was really big on that, and how she raised me, and really my entire family. And I got the best guys, the most talented people I can find.
And I'm here too.
I just found the most talented group, and I was like, man, this is gonna work. And that's just how things kind of came to be. God took care of the rest. I just made the phone
It really
calls.
is, God. It's amazing the people that we are able to reach out to and the people that we have on panel. We're really it's a brotherhood, a genuine brotherhood. Any one of them guys need something, anything, I'll help them out. You could firsthand, him. I just know that's what type
You'll
of
drive and
people
let him sleep in the car. You'll do anything.
Yeah. We're genuine people. We want to do amazing things here in the future. It's a build up. It's a building process. So we got to work our way up from the ground, and really we were just so honored that we had you here.
It's an honor because I want to get into what you guys are thinking about this whole movement.
Okay.
And what do you think? I mean, how can someone of my status, being Ahmaud Arbery's mom, what can I do to what do you think I can do to be a help to people like of your age?
That's a really good question.
Okay.
I think outreach. I think most importantly is things like this. Things like being able to come and talk to people and have discussions, have these round tables where people are able to be open with each other about, and sometimes it doesn't have to just be the hot topics, the political things. Sometimes it's just coming together to sit down and talk and be open and be closer. Because sometimes, folks don't talk to each other. Folks don't see each other. Folks who are totally different from totally different towns never end up coming together and having a conversation. And sometimes I feel like if we had more of a chance for people to open with each other,
I think so.
we wouldn't be at such odds that we are.
And I think also like being persistent, exuded resistant or resilience. Excuse me.
He was talking to us about stumbling over our words before we should.
Right. You got to coordinate.
You kept going. You were persistent. You stuck with it. Because like any parent should for their kid. I'm a father myself. He's a father. So I think being persistent and continuing to push forward, because a lot of times it happens where people forget things, or it doesn't have a significance at the time that they're living in. It may have been something that happened and that may have meant something to them, but if you're not persistent, it's just gonna go over their head. They're gonna forget. Not like forget, but it's just like it's not gonna be a big movement. Yeah, they're not gonna be as supportive. And I feel like being persistent and continuing to, you know, shed light and then just bring it up will you know, keep it in people's, you know, ears, and you know, people will try to, you know, support you like they have like they have now and continue to do.
I think just, I mean, this is my opinion. I don't even. I think that as much as I'm sure, like when everything was fresh, you needed the strength. We live in we grew up in a generation within the youth that lack patience, but the hurt of everything that we have endured in this country is still there. When these types of things happen, and as much as you know what I'm saying, it sounds like a lot, but I think when people see you how strong you are, this generation, they need your strength. Like they would need to see your strength. I think that like when people were going around riding, I remember a guy asked me what I thought about it, and I was like, I can guarantee you I wouldn't have been out there like burning down buildings.
Gotcha.
But I can't offer. I would be lying if I said I could offer a better alternative, because I feel like our generation, I think we're a very smart generation.
I think so.
Smart. I think we're the smartest generation. Very wise, but very weak.
I was going to say that.
Very, very weak, and we don't have I don't think we naturally have the strength of our mothers, of our grandmothers. For those of us who had fathers, I don't think that we naturally have that strength the way in the generations before us had the mother, the father, big mama, you know what I'm saying, papa. They grew up, they naturally had that gain, and you know, it's just to see strength, you need it. Like there are days when I just know there have been days when I didn't want to go to work, and I think about how my aunt is getting off at sometimes 1 and 2 in the morning just to be back up at 5 and get to work at 7. How my mom was getting up and work. If she got to be to work at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. And I'm thinking, dang, here I am, you know, 20. Well, I'm 26 now. I'm thinking, here I am, 20, 21. Knees don't hurt, ankles not swollen, back don't hurt.
To touch on what you said as far as like how strong you are, that's something that I had said to my wife multiple times. Like, man, when you meet her, like, she's so strong. Like, it's like the way that she's just resilient. Like, and you know, it's amazing to see a strong person, you know, going through what you went through and continue to go through and will go through the rest of your life. And but to be strong and to push forward, because you understand, you know, you have maybe other children and, you know, people that look up to you, and we need sometimes a great figure to look up to that is strong, that's been through something, and someone that we can, you know, lean on.
Go ahead. I was about to say, like, you know, you know, piggybacking off what Dave said, I think your presence brings about. It's almost like a tangible, intangible. You know, you can't really touch pain. You can't really touch love. You can't really touch understanding. But when I look at you and you have just such a aura of grace, and despite the tragedy of Ahmaud's situation, a peace about you that is comforting. You know, one of the things that I really wanted to do, with this platform is be a physical representation and friend to anybody who needs somebody. Because we go through so much in this life, and I think the more that we live, the more empathy that we require. And just having you here, in all your resilience, all your strength, you provide that comfort, that understanding, that knowledge of pain, that knowledge of love, and you can offer that to other people. So I think it's important to those places that are in need of that, that the people that can offer that go to those places, and spread that.
That was strong.
It was.
That's beautiful. I think that kind of ties into like how you were saying, how can I, you know, can get on these platforms and continue to push forward, like, you know, expressing the traits that you have and influencing it on other people that need it at that time. As like I was saying with being able to lean on somebody and like a strong figure, like he was saying, displaying all those traits to, you know, people that need your help, you know, because you've been through something. So people need people. It's better if someone has someone to lean on that's been through something.
Seeing that strength,
Like
it's inspiring.
Like,
I think it's a beautiful thing that, you know, in addition to how we was talking about how celebrities get in that world, you know, you have now been exposed to that world as well with so many big people, little people, people in the, you know, in between, just reaching out to you, flooding you and stuff. But I think it's very honorable of you to. We're in the making, but we're still small people compared to people that have made their presence known to you. So I think just following your spirit, because I'm sure you don't accept all engagements. You don't go certain places.
I really try, because if you feel that much of me to ask me to come out, if I can do it, I'm going to do it, because it's a sense that you're not only supporting me, you supporting my story. And you talk about my traits, you guys have the same traits. I mean, to come up with this, just invite me, that means you guys are supportive, you guys are loving, you guys are strong. And I worry about my black males a lot. And it gives me a sense of relief that, you know, that we as America are gonna be okay, because we have guys like you in it.
And I sure appreciate it.
And women like you as well, because you could have back to saying, like, you know, being in that realm of fame, you don't have to look back.
Yeah, but
but you know, you could just, what I'm saying is, like, take advantage of those higher platforms. And if someone like us say, hey, we would like you to come on our podcast, we're just starting out, you know, stuff like that, you could have either said no or not responded or put it on the back burner. And I personally appreciate that, because I have encountered many celebrities that have a sense of entitlement. You know, they may not be big to everyone in the world, but in their world, they are that big, and they don't look back, and they are very, you know, cocky, or they're just like, you know, arrogant, you know, and you have not given that at all. Even when I met you personally, me and Martell met you personally.
I told you that day, when you do it, I'll be there.
Yeah,
I said
definitely.
I said it. You know, I'll be there.
These guys, and him in particular, he just like absolutely just. I was at my job.
Yeah.
I was in the break room when they told me, and I was like, man, that's.
Yeah.
I was like out of it, but I think that the one of the deep, like literally, and I told my mom, and I tell these guys literally, the main reason that this situation struck me the way it struck me. I grew up the street from a part where I had to walk, and I like me and him, we would go throw the football. I have a friend of mine who lived up the street. I walked up to his house. That literally could have been any of my friends.
Exactly.
Like, so I'm saying, I think there's a sense of unity we need. In a sense of awareness, man, we need to be enlightened about these things, but we need to take that initiative before we get here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I honestly do feel like if we do those things, there will be better prepared, better equipped. In order for us to want progress and change, we have to have a plan. And like having a plan is imperative. It's just like waking up, going to work. You know, the night before you're gonna get your clothes out. Well, unless you're Ronnie and you wake up and then whatever happens that day happens. But
he's his own man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just you're gonna plan that out.
I still have to set a schedule, because I have, you know, deadlines.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't, you know, I can't party on the weekends sometimes. I can't.
Yeah.
None of us can.
Even to be honest,
like,
like, even
what?
y'all know I'm a church boy to the end. Sometimes I can't even go to choir rehearsal because I have different deadlines for projects and stuff. So it's hard. It's mentally tiring. Not really physically, because I'm sitting down, but you got just on a spiritual level, you have to deal with different spirits. You have to deal with different stories, because I do personal, but I also do a lot of outreach myself that I don't post on Facebook. I don't post on Instagram. It's just if a story comes to me and God leads me to it, he makes it easy for me to contact that family or that person, and I do what I have to do. But sometimes people aren't as receptive. Some people are in a different stage of grief. Some people are not as appreciative because it's like I've encountered people where they said thank you, but it reminded them of the grief. Mm-hmm. So some people look at it as flattery. Some people look at it as I have lost friends who mistakenly took it the wrong way, and it was like if you drew my grandmother or someone passing me, I wouldn't want it because I would want to be reminded of the hurt. It's nothing personal towards you. It's just obviously you're an artist and that has to go on the wall or somewhere I have to see it. I'm not at that place yet. Mm-hmm. I'm not in that area, and so I have to kind of rewire my brain because sometimes people delivery is a little off. Mm-hmm. And I was raised very strict, so I'm big on discipline, and you just can't do all of that.
You were going to discipline them.
Right. So, I very much so, but I have to remember that, and also I have to take breaks as well as anyone. Like, eventually, when you work constantly, you have to take a break for self. You do. So I do like a 7-day hiatus.
Tell that to the boss man. Like, they said overtime's open.
Right. So you guys go into the communities where it's younger people?
Actually, yes. We, the idea, I've always felt like, I always love, my biggest dream is to try to do something for young Black people, young Black men, because the kids are always our future. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, not everyone is like myself and my friend here who have children who are in their children's lives or certain things. So we understand. I understand. My mother raised me. I was raised by a single mother. So I understand fully the ramifications of what it is for your father not to be there. Gotcha. And I could never replace the what it is to be someone else's father, but what I can try to provide as a male figure and a sense of structure, because kids need structure. And I you know what I'm saying. So that's definitely something we really want to do. We want to help people get back. I mean, those are the things and the morals and the principles in which our company is following.
And that's what also I loved about being a part of this brotherhood is that I was big on what influence are we gonna have and what will we be doing and how will we be doing it, because people reach out to everybody. They have what is it, food drives and stuff like that, but it's the underlying intention, the motive. Sometimes it's for to get in the newspaper or to just have added to a list. But what about the people? Because everyone has a story and everyone has a voice. I personally have learned a lot of knowledge and stuff from listening to people that other people call crazy or they overlook. Homeless people. Most people aren't born homeless. They have amazing stories on how they ended up where they are. And being a part of this, I very appreciative that we are not only, we have put ourselves in a place to be able to help those and help others, and also setting the example. Because in our city, there is no all-Black podcast. There is no all-Black male podcast. And there's no podcast that actually goes out in the community and is a part of stuff and teams up with officials, hence we're in City Hall, and does stuff like that. Most things are for social media attention or credit, and it's not all about that, because you can touch someone's life just by being nice to them or giving them a voice. Say, hey, you know what? We believe in your business. Someone could have $1 million business, but you could be the person to stop them from quitting. I have been that person. Someone has said, oh my God, your drawing touched me. And I have wanted to give up art so many times. And people come out of the woodworks, but if they weren't in a position like we are in, ain't no telling we could be losing out as a people on just business blooming. Right.
Yeah. Sure.
So I wanted to ask you, fast forwarding from Ahmaud, going into the pandemic, how has that been for you, and all of this craziness and switching gears?
It's been a ride. It's been like a real fast roller coaster, and just losing Ahmaud in the midst of it was really, really crazy. Just thinking, what if I had to go back to work immediately? What about the rallies and the marches? And it's really scary because we've never had to go out and be masked up. So it scares me. What are we going into?
Right.
You know, and the numbers are still growing, and I mean, it's not getting any better. So I'm really getting scared of what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen in 2021? You know.
Definitely.
I mean, it's really scary. I mean, I'm only 48, but I never had to wear a mask to the grocery store.
I have a question. You, of course, you knew your son better than anyone. So, have you ever sat down and had the thought, how would he feel about how the world has acknowledged him and what happened to him? Because that I personally watched it myself, and it took my breath away. And I know it did the same thing for the entire world. So how do you think, or what do you think Ahmaud would say to the world, or just to you as his mother, as far as like being able to go out and speak on his behalf? Like, do you think he would be excited?
Anybody who knew Ahmaud personally would know Ahmaud was a real I love you guy, and he was I thank you guy. If you would give Ahmaud anything, his word would be thank you, and he would be great. He would be grateful, and his words would be thank you. And to me, as mom, he probably would be. He would say, "Thank you, Mama. I knew you would fight for me. I knew you would find out." And because that's whenever I leave him to rest that Saturday afternoon, my last words to Ahmaud was, "Mama will find out what happened." And I gave him that promise, and I know he's in heaven now, saying, "Thank you, Mom. I know you would. I know you would come through."
And that you did, and we thank you for just working past the grief that I'm sure you have endured. I never can say publicly, but privately, both. You know, being able to move past that, because I don't know too many women or people. I mean, even if, for instance, we had personal discussion about how the family's dealing with it. If that was my little brother, I think I actually shy away from the spotlight.
Yeah, that's what Marcus did. His older brother, you never see him speaking. Marcus never comes out. He don't speak on it. I think it's too painful. But at the same time, you can't fight and you're weak. And people don't get stuff out of interviews if you're showing emotion. I mean, they can't hear what you're saying if you're emotional. So, I mean, I got to be able to speak to get my point across, and I just know that I have to be strong in the midst of it.
I just thank you for all, like, people of this generation, people anywhere, for your strength.
Yeah.
Because the country needed it. Like, the country, is in a very peculiar spot, but the racial tension was so thick, you couldn't have cut it with anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just, but to see the strength, I think, especially being, like I said, being part of a youth that lacks patience, they want the result today. Give me this, give me that. I want it right now. But like I said, the strength, the wisdom that comes along with that, I think this generation really, really needs it. But they have to want that.
Yeah.
They have to want, to understand that Rome wasn't built in a day.
No, it wasn't.
Not just to hear the words and know what it says and read it, but to understand it, to live it, and to go and to keep pushing. Because to endure, I don't think any parent should have to lose their child.
Not like that.
It's just, but I couldn't imagine losing anybody. Like I was telling another friend of ours came around. I was like, man, if that was like happened one of y'all, I'd be like, I wouldn't riot, but I would feel that, because like I said, it could have been anybody. And I love these guys. These guys are like family to me. So I'm like, man, I just thank God for that strength because believe it or not, your strength, there's a parent somewhere who didn't get the opportunity and they are living vicariously through you. There's a sister that happened to, a brother, you know, a
you met
father.
with some mothers that have that
I
also
have,
lost.
Yeah, I mean, I went to some like a caravan. We did like 6 cities, and everywhere I went, I had a mother to come up and say, "Miss Cooper, just happened to my son." I mean, every stop, and I was like, it was unbelievable because they had endured this, and there was no arrest, and those are the strong women because they're still sane, they're not crazy. I mean, I had to get justice for Ahmaud because I don't think I could have mentally took it that those guys did it and not got punished for it. I don't think that I couldn't have took that.
But another thing that like kind of like annoys me or gets at me is some people that I've worked with in the past here recently, last couple months, you know, kind of after it happened, try to come at me from an angle like, you don't know the full story, you don't know what happened. Like, I'm like, it's a video, like, you know, like it's like
Video don't put this online.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought that up
it's
because
crazy because people will try to justify it, and when like saying like, oh, we don't know the whole story, looks like he was being this.
Well, there's
like
right and there's wrong,
and it's like, you know, it's a right and wrong. It's like how inhumane people can be to another human being. Like at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter. He lost his life. It shouldn't matter. So it's wrong, right? Like you said, right is right, wrong is wrong.
But in the beginning, you know, there was an arrest, and Ahmaud had some bumps in the roads he had his challenges as a young guy, and I was so fearful that was going to come out, and it came out immediately that he was caught with a firearm at school, and I knew it was coming out, so I prepared. My sisters, my brothers, hey, he did this, it's going to come out. We just got to prepare for it. And we did, but at the same time, what kept me focused is not what he did in 2012, is what happened on that afternoon.
Exactly.
And we have to keep just.
You can't even compare.
No, we had to redirect people. This is not 2017 to 2012. This is 2020, February 23rd. We're going to talk about this afternoon only. I mean,
absolutely.
And it's not. And I didn't pull the race card. It wasn't white and black to me. What I concentrated on was we got to do the right thing. We got to do what's right.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't. It could have been black on black or white on white. What we need to do, what we think is right, what is right. And if we do what's right, we can't go wrong.
I want to ask you something because this is very, very. This narrative annoyed me. I want to know, what do you think, your personal thoughts on the narrative of black on black crime?
It breaks my heart. It does. It breaks my heart. Because we can't hurt each other. We can't love each other and then hurt each other.
Yes. I agree with that.
How we expect the world to acknowledge and respect us if we don't show it to ourselves, because I personally learned that I know that the black dollar holds weight, but I didn't know it holds $1 trillion weight.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the fact that is a fact that can be known, why is it such a problem for us to uplift each other? Because in my head, in a perfect world, we could rule this world. Easy. But everyone has to put the egos and the blame aside, because it's not blame because we all this.
I'm happy you said that.
It's not personal. It's personal as a people and as a culture, but not by individual. And if we keep thinking and being selfish, like, oh, I had to struggle more than you, so you can't compare.
You know something? That's crazy because I could walk through a particular neighborhood and we done all been there growing up certain places, and they might look at me and say, okay, we know where he from. Someone else who is from Bel Air, paraphrasing here, who's also black, they'll walk through the same neighborhood and they'll see him as different. I think we need to get rid of two things. We need to get rid of that, and we need to enlighten ourselves on black crime and acknowledge it for the lie that it is. There is no such thing as black on black crime. 90% of African Americans in America, 93% of African Americans who are killed in America are killed by other African Americans. 87% of white people who are killed in America are killed by other white people. 77% of Asians who are killed in America are killed by other Asians. That's a proximity thing. You've never in your life heard of white on white, Hispanic on Hispanic, Asian on Asian, only black on black crime. It is a narrative used to justify the type of stuff that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is simply a narrative, and I feel
and
like
the media plays a big part in that.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
By picking and choosing
the media, they didn't
what
pick
to
and choose
release
what
and what
story
to push.
they support. They pick and choose what story they support. Because I know, like, plenty, like you said, you had plenty of mothers that came up to you about it in kind of the same situation, except for they're still in the dark. So it's kind of crazy that the media is riding your story or your wave, I guess, like your story. I don't mean like use the word, but to ride your story, to be able to have something to release, to be competitive,
without compassion,
to explore your story, like, and it's sad. It's like are we not humans? Are we not all humans? Are we not all the same thing?
You were so wild that you said. I think that the media is all now to exploit our pain until they have to deal with the reaction of our pain.
And speaking of the media, in the beginning, this happened in February, I reached out to local news media in Jacksonville, Savannah. No one would come to Brunswick to actually talk to us. But these same news people are calling me now for interviews. I needed you guys in early March.
Yeah.
And you wasn't there for me. I mean, I reached out and you hid behind COVID. We can't come out because of COVID. I mean, I reached out days after it happened and you refused to come to Brunswick to talk to me.
And COVID's in the same or worse position now, and now they want
right.
I don't know.
Exactly.
And so now they're hiding. Well, Miss Cooper, we didn't come, but it's kind of hard to even actually cooperate with them because when I needed you, not after CNN and got a hold to it, I needed you in the very beginning.
Yes.
Yes.
So
not because I just think that, man. I think as a community, man, I think obviously there would have been no way for us to know, but I apologize. If we had known sooner, I think that definitely people would have done something. Because when
the same thing,
you know what I'm saying? Because when people found out, when I found out about it, like I said, my initial thought was, I was like, damn, I could have been walking to K House, or we could have been throwing the ball with my tail. And I was like,
in the beginning, he was a burglar. Remember?
Yeah.
I
remember that.
It was very reminiscent of Trayvon Martin.
It was.
And that hit Ahmaud and Trayvon's story hit me to my core because I see them in each and every one of the people at this table. You know, whether that be my brothers or my sisters, or my mother or my auntie.
That's right.
Because even if it's not a racial thing, evil doesn't discriminate.
Yeah. And that's what it was, man.
It was evil.
Pure evil.
It was evil.
And I'm like grateful and upset and deeply saddened at the same time about how the video, kind of got released and how it happened, because the reason that I'm grateful for, and I'll speak on that, is that we wouldn't have known, we wouldn't have been able to see, and it probably could have hurt the case if we didn't have that video.
It wouldn't have been a case. I sorry to interrupt you. It wouldn't have been a case. Without that video,
right?
They had gave a narrative. Ahmaud was a burglar. He had a past background with the law, and Ahmaud was bad. So Ahmaud deserved to die. Without that video, it wouldn't have been a case. And but they kept telling me, Miss Cooper, we have video. I said, I want to see the video, because they was telling me that just to, I want to see it, but they never would show it to me. And I begged for this video from the very beginning. Because I knew Ahmaud jogged. Ahmaud never brought anything back to my house that was stolen. So if he was stealing, all he wore was jogging shorts. Where was he gonna take this stuff? How was he gonna bring it from there back over to the house? So I knew it was all lies. So show me the video, but there was no video until the video leaked out.
Unfinished house.
And to touch back on it, I'm deeply saddened because, like I told my wife and you, I told you, I knew that guy knew that was going to go down.
Yeah.
He knew that was going to happen. So, and that's so sad.
It was premeditated.
And that's evil. That's just pure evil.
Because like I said, it wasn't, and I personally don't want to change the atmosphere to focus on that. But just watching, it was every second counted. Every second the human brain could have thought of a different alternative. If you were angry for whatever reason, you angry that he's black, you angry because he dropped, whatever it was. It was so many different ways to go about it, or not go about it at all, because you didn't have a right to take anyone's life. So at any point, you had a chance to say, hey fellas, let's go back. Or this ain't right, I ain't with this. Or hold yourself accountable. You might not have to rely on anyone. Check yourself. So that means there's an evil in you that you hadn't tapped into until then. That's an issue. And it's an even bigger issue that is more people out there like that. And they're basically waiting for the right chance or the right person. But I'm so grateful that God allowed this to bring forth awareness, because now it put all of us on alert.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, you, like you said, you playing football. You ain't thinking, but now it's on your conscience that, okay, that role look a little
And
funny.
that's something that you said when we was traveling down to meet you and present the picture. He was saying, like, I'm kind of nervous right now to be around people, certain people. So
be on the area.
It is kind of something that I think about still too a little bit. Like, I'm not scared of any man, but just the fact that, like, you know, people are looking at
it
you.
Makes you weary, right? It makes
Yeah.
you. I personally didn't grow up with racism. I never faced racism head on. I always learned about it. But I cannot lie, and I'm sure there's other people that feel this way. When I watched that video, along with other videos and a lot of other documented things, it does create some form of
paranoia.
Paranoia when I am around certain others. And it's like, I tell people, racism also starts with us. They might be paranoid of us from seeing the same things that I saw. So it does start with both of us. We both cultures and both ethnicities need to let it go before it's non-existent. Because, you know, most black people grew up in church, stuff like that. So everybody knows what forgiveness is. We have to forgive each other and create an entire different world for our children, because I am a firm believer racism is taught. Most things are taught. Children mimic what they see. They relate to their parents or their guardian or whoever. They're easily influenced because there's nothing else but what they see. So the day that everyone as a just the human race can take that into strong consideration when raising children, is that there is no such thing as race. There is no such thing as a difference. There is no color when it comes to skin.
I think also,
it'll always be there, but it starts with everyone.
Yes, but I think to be an African American parent and to not have your kids aware of what that stuff is to the fullest, you are crippling them for life.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about, of course, teach them the history, make them aware, but also explain to them it's wrong.
Yes, well, yes.
That's what I'm saying. This is wrong. This happened, just like they teach us slavery today.
Yeah.
We far from slavery, very far, but in the way that it was.
Actually, not that far, but
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
when I'm talking about slavery, I'm talking about the hardship of pure slavery, being owned by a master. So now it's more subliminal. You know, I get it, but we're not on a plantation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to. Right, I get it, but we have come far enough where now we are afforded proper resources and proper platforms. We do have now the right to develop our own anything and say what we want and not get chastised and beat and killed and hung and all this other stuff. Like how easy it was back then and how easy it was to get away with it back then.
To touch on something with children, is there a particular trait that you possess that you are happy that your children have?
Strong.
Strength.
Yeah, because I hadn't saw the video. I saw I hadn't saw it. I don't think I ever take a look at it, but I heard Ahmaud fought. I mean that they said that he actually fought for his life.
Yes.
And
yes.
And then I also was told by my sister that he actually tried to avoid. So I was proud that he saw trouble, and he tried to avoid trouble. He tried to get away, and when you couldn't get away from him, he had to fight. So it breaks my heart that his last final minutes it was like this fighting, but I mean he's a fighter, I mean that's what I taught. I mean you can avoid it, but if you gotta fight. So
how was it attending? I know we had spoken. You was attending George Floyd's service, and they asked you to be a guest and stuff like that. So how was that experience being in that? Also going through your own personal grief and all the noise. How was it being a part of something else that was also sparking just as much noise as your case?
It was an honor to be invited because if anywhere that I feel that I can support, I'm there. I'm all in. And unfortunately, they killed Mr. Floyd weeks after that video leaked, and that was another low blow because I thought they would have saw that video and went to work as policemen more cautious, and they didn't.
America has never seen something. I don't even want to take credit for this. D.L. Hughley, one of my favorite comedians, D.L. Hughley once said that something to the effect that America have never seen something that happened to African Americans where they were just like, you know what, that's enough. And the interviewer was like, well, I think there's been certain things. And he's right. No, there hasn't. Because he brought up the Emmett Till situation. And then years later, 4 girls were killed in a church bombing. And no one did anything. Like, they killed Medgar Evers. And his murder was brought to justice, but it took over 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Essentially to have that done. They never did rightfully catch Malcolm's killer or Dr. King's killer. But there was so many different injustices after that. And then you look at what's happening in this generation. No, they've never seen something to where they're like, you know what, this shit is wrong. What I genuinely think has to happen, and I even hate to even let this come out of my mouth, but it's genuine what I think. I don't wish that on no one. They have to see it happen to their own. Like not know that it happens. I don't.
I get what you mean there.
I get it, but it's
a strong.
It depends. Yeah, because someone can interpret it differently. I totally get what you're saying. Is like, okay, for so long we've been in pain, but you're causing it. So in order for you to get that this is hurtful, we have to cause it to you.
No. This is no revenge.
That's what I'm saying. Clarify, because it's different ways you can interpret your statement.
I will clarify, but I cannot. But I will be remiss if I don't say this. If there are people out here thinking it that way, they have us as a people. They're not watching. Clearly, us African American people are against revenge. Because if we were ever a vengeful people, God made us ungrateful people. You talk about running the world. I mean, we have that then some. If we were a vengeful people, if that was what we wanted to do, if those were the seeds God planted in us as a people, well, we are above that. Revenge is simply beneath us as a people.
And I think it takes away from us.
Yeah, like seriously, I just don't think that's us. Like, you don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. That's typically how we work. What I'm saying is, if there was a cop of the, you know what I'm saying, white cop or whatever, and they saw it unrightfully done. Like if it happened to them, then and only then will they see it and understand. Like, damn, that's crazy. Like, that's wrong. It would only be until it happened to them.
Speaking of that, did y'all see that video? There was a video of, and I cannot remember specifically what area, but I believe it was a New York, like a police district. Their chief was he was doing like a press conference. This was around the time when the protests and riots started to really gain traction. He was like doing his press conference where he was speaking with his force behind him, and he was kind of like, you guys don't understand what we're going through. We're going out there, and these people are afraid to go home at night. They change out of their uniforms because they're afraid of what someone on the street will see them and do to them. We're being prosecuted. We are being misrepresented. It was so toned down.
I saw that. About us. Like,
he was.
Are you talking to do with the badge?
This is the police chief.
Yeah,
I understand both sides though.
It was
because not all
down.
policemen are bad.
Well,
No,
I think the problem here is like imagine a world where we held each other accountable for the things that we did.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be in this situation. IA, Internal Affairs, is one of the most hated parts of the department because they're investigating their own.
Mm-hmm.
But if your own had done what they were supposed to do and followed the guidelines and the regulations, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So it's hard sometimes to be because I have empathy for anybody in blue who does what they are supposed to do and holds their constituents and the people that they work with accountable, and they are persecuted.
Mm-hmm.
I have the utmost empathy for those people. But if you are in a position that you see unrighteous and unrightful things going on, and you do not speak on it, and you do not play your part in weeding that out, you are part of the problem.
Absolutely, like that's exactly it. Like you see, like because such as the counterculture, so many videos start to pop up of officers who call out their partners for being bad, or officers who are standing with the protesters, who kneel with the protesters, who are out with the people who are speaking their mind. It's so difficult at times to kind of see the people who are trying to represent the goodness, because there are times where a lot of the structure of things are on that other end, where it becomes, we are worried about the order and the law as opposed to the morality and the right. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm sure we all have friends and family that we know. I personally know people who are cops in different areas, and it's like you can have those conversations with them and you can talk to people and go, yes, I know you're a good person and I'm a good person, but do we both put the people that we are around our community, do we put those that we are also a part of accountable?
Mm-hmm. So like in Ahmaud's case, there was 14 officers when Ahmaud was killed. 14, not 4, 14. And when they made the initial phone call to tell me what happened to Ahmaud, it was all lies. The only thing that was true that Ahmaud was killed. They said Ahmaud had broken around someone's home. He was confronted by the homeowner. There was a fight over the weapon, and Ahmaud was shot and killed. And it was 14 officers on the scene. And that's what they chose that one investigator to call me to tell me all lies. So what happened to the other 13 officers? Someone saw that something was going on that wasn't right, but nobody spoke up. Nobody said anything. Instead, they let one of them, Michael's daughter, she came out and took a picture of Ahmaud lying in the street and posted it on Snapchat. That's how lenient they were with the crime scene.
I read some articles about that.
Yeah. It's that level of accountability.
Her excuse was trash.
Yeah.
I read it.
Yeah, it's crazy, but but you got taxpayers' money out there with badges on, and they're out there, and you're gonna. It's crazy. It's not acceptable.
That's good.
She's Monique and some more.
Yeah. I don't like some more. Her jokes aren't funny.
Did you watch Chandelier?
Yeah, she's just not. She's not really funny.
She's funny if you compare her to Tiffany Haddish, but like
Tiffany Haddish is not funny.
No, she's not. That's what I'm saying.
She's really not funny
at all. Like
she started out, but she's not that funny. I love her though.
She tried.
Yeah, she does.
I think mine, like a long time.
Yeah, your
favorite has to be Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac, he was funny.
Yeah, Bernie Mac is funny.
I said
Bernie Mac is funny. You still with the Scotty yesterday. You not think Bernie Mac is funny though?
I said yesterday.
Bernie funny.
I said yesterday on live. No, my favorite had to be
Yeah, he's funny.
I like Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley made me cry.
Who's your favorite?
Laughing. Ricky Smiley.
Who's your favorite?
Old school, the prank calls.
His prank calls are funny, but his stand-up is not.
His stand-up when he was it Casket Shard?
That wasn't that bad, but the rest of that is I'm just like it's a lot of fat on the meat there.
I like
And then I like that.
My favorite comedian, I know, like I love D.L. Hughley, love Bernie Mac. I think Chris Rock is my most. I like Chris Rock's the most underrated comedian. I think that's like famous. Like Chris Rock is hilarious.
Chris Rock has that, man. His views on things is just perfect. Like,
Well, Nick, we understand that you have something very special for Miss Cooper.
Yes, Miss Cooper. I actually wrote a poem
Okay.
that I'd like to share
Okay.
with you. I actually haven't come up with a title for it. I might actually let you do the honors of naming it.
Okay.
So it goes like this. Mama, I've been running to a place where they recognize my name before they recognize the color of my skin. Mama, I've been jogging in search of doors that will open for me that I won't have to kick in. Mama, I was out walking with my black fist held high because I'm tired of talking. Forever thankful for your love. Look at how far it's brought me. God called my name today, and I answered his call. So don't you wait for me, because I'm already home.
Like that.
God damn, that was
don't give you that one.
Yes, ma'am.
I gotta get a special name for it. I mean, what is it?
Running with this.
I'm gonna tell you, this is the first time I've gotten through it without crying.
Really,
So,
I like it. I
yeah,
like it.
get a second.
Yeah, I like it.
It hurt.
I really like it. I gotta get a special name for it.
Oh, for sure.
When I name it, yeah, I can't just come up with something.
Oh, no, take your time.
No, when I get a name for it, you be the first to know.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming
Yeah.
all the
Thank
way
you for
up.
having me. No.
Anytime, we will, whether it is here
No.
or in Savannah,
I'll
you are
come.
always
I'll
welcome
come.
here.
And I don't have to sit in. I can just sit back and listen. I like to hear you guys talk.
You'll probably get something from us again.
Okay, please
I definitely
We'll be-
want to do this.
Please, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, please. Anytime I can be, y'all doing something in the community and I can show up and anything, I'm all in.
There will definitely be definitely a lot of that.
Okay, please, yeah, because
Definitely.
we need to reach.
We also have something else special for you.
Okay.
I guess
So who baked the cake?
It was not me.
It was
Give you a hand.
Running on today. I'm just trying to figure.
We would like to present you with what we call a laugh pack.
The first ever
laugh pack.
Oh.
Yes.
Since you are our first ever guest,
Yes.
We're very grateful that you came on. Thank you.
Yes.
We just look forward to, build a friendship.
Oh, sure.
And,
Friends
just
for
be able
life.
to help everybody out.
Yeah.
And here you go, first ever laugh pack.
Do I need to open it now?
Yes,
you
This is exciting.
I see. And then you do one.
That's an official. Can we
Now,
laugh
shirt, you know, it's gotta be
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You
ma'am.
want a bus? You want
One
a
of
bus?
us is like honorary member of the panel.
I felt out of place for you guys.
We just trying to put you in the center, let you shine bright. Like a diamond.
It's my new shirt.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Who is responsible for making our shirts nowadays?
Pause.
You know,
We'll talk about it.
yes. Last but not least, I definitely want to stress one last point because we could not get to it. This man has not made any new cooking recipes, Nick. No, you have
I
not.
literally
No,
just made
nigga.
jerk pork yesterday.
No, it's already been a thing.
What is
It's
jerk
already been a
pork?
thing. Talking about some.
I mean, okay, I didn't make any
How dare you
recipes,
tell
but
me?
I
I
tried
had nine of this cooking like that.
He ain't made nothing.
So you
No.
cook a lot?
So was it
I
a
cook
bed or
okay.
something?
Like, when I get in the mood, I'll cook, but I don't like cooking for other people.
Okay, I got you.
I do have one.
I make a meal that already cheese.
I have one question. If there was anyone that you would like to see on our show, or you think that would be good to have on our show, who is it?
Speaking into existence, just put that out there.
No. Probably anyone who can come in and offer support. before this all happened, I wasn't a person of people. I mean, like celebs, because we all people, we all humans.
Yeah.
I'll say the President Obama.
President Obama.
Yeah.
Listen here.
Well,
President Barack. One thing we want, Miss Cooper spoke. We're gonna get you. And when you come and break the show.
He did make a comment. He didn't make a phone call, but he did make some.
President Obama, that's something we're gonna have to work on.
Facts.
Still,
Still
President
President
Obama. If you watch this later
Still
on,
my president.
we're gonna work to.
I rock with Barack.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't see Trump. I mean, he was very cordial.
What was that like? The White House? What was it like?
It was really nice. I wasn't a fan of Trump, but he is our president, so I had to pay him that respect. And he was cordial. He listened, and at that point, I wanted to speak to anyone who would listen. He listened. Well, he did anything about it, but he did listen to me.
Do you feel like it was genuine, or did you feel like it was more so the daily to-do list type of thing?
I think that he thought he owed an obligation to the black community, to me as Ahmaud's mom. He was doing what he thought that he should do. I don't think it was from the heart. I think it was like a political move. But I appreciated it because he got me a chance to
be out there.
Yeah, and then for him to hear my voice, I wanted to hear my voice, and he heard it. So I thank God for that.
Well, anytime, like I said, anytime you have anything on your mind, you need to be heard. We are here.
Well, thank you.
Definitely.
Or you just want to come and hang out again.
Now I can.
Right. She was very, very, very adamant about wanting to travel to us, and I completely understand it because I'm a person of getaways.
Yeah.
When life gets to be too much, I do not stay in the house. I like to go and travel and get out of that environment and come back refreshed so I can think better. So thank you for that as well, because most people, like I said, would have wanted us to travel, which that wasn't a problem, but they would have felt, entitled and be like, oh, y'all come to me, or y'all got this amount of time. You completely freed your schedule for us. You checked in with us. You answered phone calls, and I really appreciate that because you made this very easy for us to do when it could have been easily complicated.
Yeah.
So we thank you for that and for working with us and for working with the world.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I liked it.
Well, signing off with Miss Wanda Cooper.
Signing off.
Cool dog.
Cool dog.
That's cool dog right there.
Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.
We're gonna hold that to you forever.